Okay, today we finally get to touch code, HTML code. As I mentioned in the last videos, the tools that I use will be predominantly Dreamweaver because Dreamweaver is simply part of Adobe Creative Cloud suite. If you have bought the entire suite with Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, XD and Dreamweaver. So we might as well just take advantage of that and then just use this. It's actually a very good tool, especially the new versions. Then we'll use the code mode and the developer mode so that we'll learn about the HTML code itself. Then for preview, simply launch any browser. As I mentioned in the last videos, I'm using Mozilla Firefox here. So I'll show you what HTML is. It's actually just text files and then just drag and drop the whole thing. Let's have a sip of coffee. Then we're good to start. Okay, when you launch Adobe Dreamweaver, this is what you get. Simply click Create New and you will get these new document windows. Okay, Dreamweaver actually, you can actually use Dreamweaver to code many stuff, but for us will be HTML. We'll just stick to this HTML for document type. The rest, let's not touch it. Let's drop in a text called Lesson 1 for the title. The rest, we just leave it and then simply click Create. And Dreamweaver will generate you this default document template which start with this bunch of stuff. Okay, let's not too worry about this. It's actually not difficult. Let me explain through. The very first part is actually not meant for us. It's meant for the robot. Okay, it's called document type. It just defined that this is a HTML document. Simply because HTML document is just a pure text file and nothing more. Okay, and then you get this anchor bracket HTML thing and then with this head thing. For Dreamweaver, okay, because it's a power tool, so when you simply bring this blinking cursor, this is where you can type, okay, blinking cursor. Let me delete that. The blinking cursor to this HTML, you notice that the Adobe Dreamweaver will highlight it with a gray background. The one on top and the one below. And then when you bring the cursor to this head, you notice that it also brings this, highlight this gray background on head. And then with another one with the pair/head. Same for this body. If you bring it to the body, it also highlight the body and then the slash body. What does all this mean? These are called HTML tag. It actually works in a pair. When you open a tag, okay, you need to close a tag. Okay, the concept is actually like a Russian doll. This is a Russian doll. I steal my daughter's Russian doll to show this. Okay, when you open a tag, okay, it has to close it at the bottom. Okay, how it works is that just like Russian doll, it will encapsulate whatever that is inside. Like there's a head tag, which is a smaller Russian doll, and then another body type. Just imagine that is also another Russian doll inside here. So inside this head tag, okay, another Russian doll, there's meta tag. Okay, there's a meta, and then there's a title. Okay, the title is actually a smaller Russian doll, which is the smaller one here. And then inside this title, there's actually this lesson 1. So that is how HTML actually works. It works in a hierarchy just like how Russian doll works. So now same thing here. Let's come back to our code. HTML, when you open a tag, you need to close it with a pair with a slash HTML tag. And then whatever that you want to put inside, it has to be encapsulated inside this main tag. Let's save this and then we'll see what happens. I'm simply going to save it to my desktop, and then I'll just call it lesson 1. Okay, if you've watched my previous video, you know that you don't want to put a space, you don't want to put a capital letter, or you don't want to name your file with some funny characters like slash, like $sign or whatever. Lowercase and number, that's it. Okay, save it to desktop. And then you notice that it saved it to a desktop with this file. Okay, this is actually just a text file. And you bring this text file and then just drop it into a browser. So this is Mozilla Firefox. You notice that it actually dropped it on my desktop, lesson 1 HTML with nothing inside. But you'll see this lesson 1 on the tag, which is actually this lesson 1. Okay, that's where the title goes. Okay, let me bring this smaller so that we can see this. Okay, that should do. So what happened is that when we want to put in the content, where does it go? It actually goes inside this body Russian doll, which is this body tag. So just make some space and then we'll drop something inside. So I'm simply going to go and grab some dummy text. It's called Lorem Ipsum. Okay, and then Google will find me this lorem ipsum generator, which is, these are called dummy text. It doesn't mean anything, it's actually in Latin, it looks like English, but it's just simply gonna fill in the space. So I'll just simply copy this paragraph and dump it here. Then I'm gonna save this and then refresh this, my page, and see what happened. And then you notice that it actually pop up inside here in the body. Whatever that is inside all this that you type, it will not show the tag, but it will show whatever that you ask it to put inside. Of course, a simple page for HTML is basically to have like headings. So I'll have this is lesson 1 main header. And then after that, I have this is section 1, section A overview. Say this is the subheading. And I simply gonna save it by go to file save, or I'll use the shortcut key. For Mac it's actually Command S, but for PC is Control S. So that's the shortcut. We'll save it and then refresh here. You notice that the text actually goes together. This is lesson 1 main header, just like here, and section A overview, and it follows by straight away with all these things without taking in your new line, your carriage return. That is because HTML, it takes whatever content that you put in, and then you simply just dump it out. You need to tell your browser that, hey, this is a header 1, this is a subheading, and this is my paragraph text. So we can actually do that by using HTML tag. For header 1, the tag will be, you have to open this anchor bracket first and then type H. So Dreamweaver will give you the suggestion that start with H. Okay, you have H1, H2 all the way to H6, and then this head is actually this. So we don't want to touch those. So H1, the main heading, and then when you close the anchor bracket, close it with the right anchor bracket, and Dreamweaver will generate this pair for you. This is actually where the end tag is. Remember that I mentioned HTML works like a Russian doll. So you need to encapsulate this whole thing. This is the content inside this Russian doll. So what I'll do is I highlight this and then simply bring it into here. There's an open of HTML tag, and then there's a closing of this HTML tag, this H1 tag with a /H1. So when I save this and go and refresh, now this H1 appear. So because the browser now knows that, hey, whatever that is in between H1, this H1 tag, that is my H1. What about subheading? Let's go and make some more. Subheading is H2. There's H1, H2, H3, all the way to H6. So we'll use H2. And then when I close it with anchor bracket, same thing, Dreamweaver generate this /H2 for me. So it's gonna close this. So what I'll do is I'll simply bring this and drop it in between this tag, open and the close tag. Okay, you want to be really careful. Okay, if you drop it inside this, okay, it's not gonna work. Straight away, Dreamweaver will tell you, or any power tools will tell you that there's an error here because it doesn't recognize this. Okay, whatever that is inside the anchor bracket, it take it as the tag. There's no such tag as H2 section A overview. So remember that you want to remember to put this outside of the tag. Okay, when we save this and refresh, now our H2 appear. So this chunk of text, okay, it will just appear as the chunk of text. What if this chunk of text is actually 3 paragraphs instead of 1? It will not appear. So as you can see, if I save this and refresh, it will still be the same. Remember that I mentioned you need to use a paragraph tag for this. So it's actually P tag, open and close, P inside. P stands for paragraph. I want to drop this whole chunk of text inside here, or I can simply just select this and bring this thing to the end. So with this set, okay, this will be the first paragraph, and then let's save this and see first. So the first paragraph comes out. So I want to do the same for second and third paragraph so that they separate out. So I make some space and put in the second P. Same thing, bring this P here, or bring this P to the end. That will work as well. But to standardize it, we'll simply just put it at the same place so that our document will appear neater. So let's do the third one. Bring it to the end. So I have first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, and when I save this and refresh, first paragraph, second paragraph, and third paragraph. So that's basically how simple HTML works. Okay, of course, there will be H1, H2 all the way to H6, which I don't need to show here. sometimes in between this H2 and this paragraph, I want to drop a horizontal line. So that tag is called HR. HR basically stands for horizontal ruler. So when you save this, you get a line just cut across the thing. It's actually very useful so that we can actually separate out different sections. For HTML, usually we will not have just one section. We'll have this first section, we'll have like the second section here. Okay, and after a line, then let's put another H2, okay, in called section B. And this, after overview, it should be chapter 1. Okay, and then followed by the third one, which is this. Another HR to cut across the line, and another H2, which is the subheading level 2. So C, chapter 2. So when I save this and refresh, each of them will get their section A, paragraph, section B, section C. So maybe I should bring this line on top of this instead. How HTML works, you will see, is actually the same order as how you actually put the tag in. It's actually not complex. You think of it, it's actually just like your Microsoft Words. So I want to bring this line to the top. What I can do is I can simply highlight this, okay? Just cut, and then by using Command X or Control X, that's for cut, and then simply go on top and paste it. So I save this, and then this line will go on top. So that's basically how the basic tag works. Alright, next, let's look into what about we don't just put paragraph tags, we want to put some bullet points. Okay, bullet point is actually go by this thing called UL and OL. So UL stands for unordered list. Okay, this is one set of unordered list first. So the actual every bullet point is actually list. LI stands for list item. So what we'll do is we simply put in this is list item A. Okay, and then with another list item, this is list item B. And list item C, we don't need to type actually, we can simply duplicate this, copy and paste. So simply duplicate this, come back and change C and D. There will be a lot of copy and paste, cut and paste, and highlight and all this. Don't memorize code, don't type line by line. Since you're very new to HTML and you're not very familiar with the tagging, if you type everything out, you're gonna miss out and misspelling here and there. So learn the way how we put together a page by using a lot of highlight and highlight. You can simply press and hold shift and then use the arrow up and down to highlight the whole line, or simply bring your cursor here and then highlight this. Use a lot of cut, a lot of paste. Control X, Control C, Control V. Try to get familiarized with all these few shortcuts. It's really very helpful to you. So let's come back to this unordered list item. So I should have 4 bullet points. This is list item A, B, C, and D. So when I save this and refresh, you go here. This is list item A, B, C, and D. That's how you do bullet points. Okay, what about if I want to do a 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead of bullet points? Okay, that tag is called ordered list, stands for OL, ordered list. So I simply go back and change this UL to OL. I can just swap like that. And then do a save and come back here and refresh. Now it changed to 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how OL works. And you have OL and UL. So usually list item, we have nested list item. We don't just have this, right? So you can have to create another UL inside this item, list item A. So imagine that this is actually a material, okay? And the first one is actually wood. So I have to put in this LI. So inside wood is the first one. Then I will have metal. Metal. And then the third one, I'll have plastics. So when I save this, I'll get this wood, metal, and plastic inside item A. So let's say this is a list for materials. Okay, simply gonna change that and refresh. Okay, I can do the same for item B as well. So another UL. And this is more like cloth material. So I have like cloth, I have canvas, I have plastic, sheets. Maybe this is list for fabric. Save and refresh. So my list of fabric number 2, I have cloth, canvas, and plastic sheet. So inside wood, let's say I have some more. I can actually put in some more, UL, and then create, let's say this is a tick, the first item, and the second item is birch, and I have pine and oak. Save, refresh. So my tick, birch, pine, and oak will become the third list item inside under wood, which is inside this material, and so on. So HTML actually allows you to have all these sub lists. So this is how you actually do the list item. Okay, after looking at this basic tagging, how and the structure of how HTML works, let's look into what about layout? What about changing of font? What about changing of colors? In HTML itself, by using the tag, there are simple way of doing layout. For example, if the first part, okay, the main header, or maybe this last one is actually not chapter 2, I want to change it to a footer, section C appendix. Okay, which is the whatever declaration, terms and condition and stuff. And this one, it will be in align center. So if I want this to align center, I can simply use this thing called center tag. So everything in between this center tag, okay, let me just bring this here. Okay, must be careful where you place it. Okay, make sure that they encapsulate the logic. This one is inside here, and this is here, and this is here. So when I save this, everything inside this section C appendix will be centralized. So that's how center tag works. Okay, and I want to change the font for the last one to be different from the rest. You notice that by default HTML font type is actually Times New Roman for most of the browser. These are called web safe font because this font is actually available in most devices by default, like Arial, Verdana, Tahoma, Times New Roman, Georgia, and there are actually a handful. Not many, but a handful. Just that you don't get access to use special fonts that your Helvetica, your Futura, and all those. Okay, we'll come to that, but that will be in the next maybe 3 lessons down when we touch CSS. But by default, the primitive HTML actually does not support that yet. So it's actually good to use this web safe font for now, so that your font will appear correctly in everybody's machine. So let's change this font type by using this font tag. And before we actually close this right tag, we actually want to use this thing called attributes. Okay, font, you can actually change the behavior of this tag. So by changing this typeface, face stands for typeface, and I want to change it to a sans, so it's actually Arial. I want to change the color, so I use the color, and it actually gives me this option of color picker. For demonstration purpose, I'll simply just use a color for this color picker. So let's say I'll use something like this. Okay, I'll use this red. Let's say I want this, and simply press enter. It'll give me this 6-digit code, which is actually called hexadecimal. It's actually RGB. Okay, R88 R red, G19 of green, 53 of blue. Sometimes when you pick this, you actually will get some funny numbers instead, and you even see A and alphabet inside. So that is because it's actually 16 digit instead of our decimal, which is the 10 digit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. But then for hexadecimal, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then before it hit 10, it goes A, B, C, D, E, and F, and then 10. That's called 16 digit hexadecimal. So in total, you have 256, 256, and 256. That's how you get this 9A, 1A, and then 1C. They are actually this color code for this red color. So I'm simply gonna close this, and then bring this close font tag to where I want it to end. So it should actually end before the center, since it starts before the center. So when I encapsulate this one is inside here. Whatever that is inside here is going to change to Arial and change to this font color. save and refresh. So my appendix section is area, and then change to this color. That's how the basic color and HTML works. So let's go ahead and change all this. This one may be in another color, this one may be in another color, so that we don't have everything in black and white. Okay, the main header, to change the color, I need to use font tag as well. Instead of, let's say I don't want to change the font typeface, I can put color in here. Then color picker, it's more of the purple now. Close. Simply bring this to the end of this. So whatever between here should be purple. Save and refresh. Yes, purple. Okay, and let's change all this into another color. Color picker. Instead of purple, I want a slight blue, but maybe a grayish blue. Okay, I have to bring this tag all the way down, so I'm simply gonna Control S it or Command S it, Control X or Command X to cut it, and then bring it down all the way here after this section B, and then after this paragraph, which is this, and then simply have it close here. So which means whatever that encapsulates in between these two, this pair would be in this color. Save and refresh. That's how I get this kind of gray blue color. So that's for the font color. What about the background color? Let's say I want to drop a background color as well. Background color is actually inside this body tag, which encapsulates everything. So since body actually encapsulates everything, right? The attribute for it is actually called BG. BG color equals to, use color picker. Let me pick a gray. Maybe a bluish gray would do. Something like here. Enter. Save, and I will have a bluish gray background, maybe too dark. Let's have something lighter. Yeah, maybe this pink will do. This one looks better. You can see with this view tag and the attributes, we can actually manipulate and change the behavior of how tag is. But then it's still very limited. We can't really do too much. Okay, there are only a few more things. Like for example, if I want to have this in italics, okay, I can by using this I tag. Okay, I stand for italic. Drag this thing all the way to the end here. Make sure that it's encapsulated in between this P tag. Okay, save and refresh. So this will be italic. If let's say I'm not very careful, okay, I open a I tag here and then I accidentally close this I tag outside of this P. Okay, it's gonna give me this error. Okay, and you save it. It might work, it might not work, but it's an error. It's a logic error because it just worked like your Russian door. Okay, you have a Russian door here. Imagine this P tag is actually this big one outside, and then you have the I is the smaller one inside. But what this code, when I put it this way, it basically means that I'm open of this tag, and then I open off this, the smaller one I tag, and then I close this one first. And what about this? The smaller I tag closing, I try to close it outside here. It doesn't work this way. It's a logic error. So what I have to do is, this P tag has to stay first. And then after that, I open and then I have to close this first before I actually close the P tag, the big one. So that is the logic. So always remember this, when you close it, you have to encapsulate it inside. So make sure that whatever that you open inside, you have to close it first before you close the big one and capsule inside. That's how the logic of HTML works. There are also other attributes like underlines and bold the text, which let me just show you in a very quick example. So I'll use this to show you this part. Let's say I want to bold these few things. It's a B tag. And then I want to close it here. And I want to underline the rest. So I'll use U tag to underline the rest. Cut and close here. And this will be bold, and this will be underlined. Say if I want this font size to be slightly bigger, okay, I can actually do this by simply put a font tag here and use this attribute called size. For the old HTML, the default HTML, the size goes by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 1 is the smallest, 6 is the biggest. So the default one is actually 3. So let's say I set it to 4. And close this. And I want to bring this to here. There's 2 font closing here. Okay, this is actually for this, and this one is actually the big one, which is the one on top. So the pair is like that. So remember the logic, they might share the same tag name, but they're actually different tag. Remember this, save this here and then refresh. Then you notice that instead of size 3, it becomes size 4. You can change it to size 5 as well to see the difference. Then it becomes bigger. Yeah, then it's almost this size already, which is the H2 size. So we don't want that. Okay, let's make it at size 4. And then this one maybe you can change to size 2 or size 1. Okay, by simply change this here, font size equals to, let's see 1, how small it is. Bring this, and then same thing. See, there's another pair, which is actually the one on top. And I want to close it here. Okay, this should be this, and this should be inside. So there's an umbrella shape. You notice that HTML usually, when we code HTML, there's an umbrella shape. It's actually the hierarchy. It helps us to see this clearer. Save and refresh. So this is size 1. You can still read it, yeah, but although it's really very, very small. Usually this will be for the copyright statement or those terms and conditions that it has to be there, but nobody really want to read it, and you leave it at the bottom. So it's actually very small, declaration or whatever. So it's size 1. That's how the old HTML way. And when it comes to CSS, then you can use pixel size, point size, REM and stuff, which I'll explain in those lessons to come. So if you like my video, please click like and subscribe to Uncle Teach You channel. Your support is actually my main motivation to do all these videos. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video.